geek'd Knights, what's poppin'? It's Adonis. We are back with another Does It Hold Up reaction with Dragon Ball. I switched it up to Dragon Ball Z Kai because a lot of you guys recommended it. It kind of starts in the middle of episode 2 because that's kind of where it ends the second episode of Dragon Ball Z. It's weird, but I'm your senpai now. So if you want to stay geeked, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. As usual, welcome to all the new geek'd Knights that have been knighted over the past couple of days. Welcome to the fam over here, man. Let me know that you are brand new with the hashtag FreshFam in the comment section so I can welcome you guys personally. We're on our way to 300K, bro, with that first goal of 150K in the sights. Bang, we ready to go. So let's get to there as quickly as possible. We're growing so quick right now, so I'm super excited. And everybody that's been helping the channel grow with the comments, the likes, and the shares, man, thank you guys so much. We are building a really cool, momentum community here. I don't even know what that made any sense, but it sounded good, though.
Not a bit. I still don't know what that shit means, but it sounds good.
Anyways, man, I'm excited. We're gonna again break down Dragon Ball Z Kai. Does it hold up? If you guys are tuning in for the first time, it's a rewatch series. I haven't seen Kai all the way through, but it's the same story, so it doesn't really matter. It's just consolidated. But we're gonna see if does this hold up. Does the story hold up? This is my favorite anime of all time. A lot of you guys are like, "Pow, you like story? Great animation. Why do you like Dragon Ball?" Dragon Ball Z has a special place in my heart when I was a kid. So, but we're gonna remove all the hype, all the nostalgia, and we're gonna look at it for what it is. We're gonna go through story, animation, all of that, and does this hold up in 2020 when you have great animes like The Promised Neverland, like Dr. Stone, like Demon Slayer, like Vinland Saga, like Attack on Titan. When you have these amazing animes out that are coming out, does this still hold up? We're telling the truth on here. We're telling it like it is. It doesn't mean I can't love it any less, but sometimes you just gotta be honest about some things. So we're watching this, man. We're gonna start in the middle of episode 2 and go from there. Let's get this.
If I come back and I don't see 100 dead humans, your son dies.
Your son dies.
It's just a kid. Leave him out of this. The 3 of us against billions and billions of humans. Even so, I'm sure we can finish the job in under a month. Struggle all you want. You know,
isn't it so interesting to see, like, it's so interesting to see, like, the animation or the illustration of the Saiyan armor. Oh, chill. Look at this.
It'll only be the 3 of us against billions and billions of humans. Did you catch all of that, Captain?
All right, so how it goes up, it looks up because the other ones go out, so this ones go up. So interesting.
Struggle all you want.
That sound effect.
Nothing compared to a real Saiyan's.
That sound effect. Look at this dude's face right here, bro.
And you're definitely no match for your older brother. His tail. That's it. That's his weak spot. If I can grab it somehow, it'll drain his power. At least that's how it worked for me. But can you? I mean, you really think you can get close enough to grab his tail? It's useless. You can't win.
Piccolo's like, bruh, chill out. It's interesting because they didn't even catch Piccolo, bro. They didn't even catch him, but he can obviously hide his power, so.
This is business. I have no interest in helping you play the hero again. I care even less what happens to your son.
Psych.
I just don't want that alien monster interfering with my conquest of this planet. Hey, Piccolo, do you think you're going to be able to keep up with my flying Nimbus? Your silly little flying cloud may work for you, but my own travel method is a bit more advanced.
My own travel method is a bit more advanced. So, flying? I'm so confused why that was supposed to be this mysterious. Come on, bruh.
And besides, he couldn't find me even if he wanted to. I give up. This thing is completely busted. Impossible! He's here.
And the music. Down, 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 down. Chill.
Obvious. I came to take my son back. Let me get this straight. You mean you're one of the last?
Even in the remaster, right? Like you could tell like some of the sequences aren't really that good aren't that well illustrated. You know what I mean? Like I know you're like, oh, well, Dragon Ball Z Kai is better. Yeah, but in certain circumstances, it's going to be. But a lot of the sequences, it still has
Living Saiyans, and you're refusing to join up with the
subpar
rest of your
illustration
kind?
quality.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. But I was thinking about my offer, and I've changed my mind. You'd probably just slow the rest of us down. And for betraying the Saiyan race, you will die!
Back, elbows.
The other two surviving Saiyan warriors that I mentioned earlier, they both have power levels even higher than mine.
I love like the scare animation. That scare animation is just classic. It's just one of those like, oh, okay, like it's almost like it scares you to your core. You know what I mean? It has that whole like inverse color. It's at such a fire animation. So that episode is it's an interesting one. I feel like in this form, it's definitely way less fatty than Dragon Ball Z, because I think up to that point, that's a whole nother episode. So that was half an episode, which was pretty interesting to see how much they've consolidated it. But yeah, again, I kind of think what I mirror what I was saying in the previous one is you can see some of the limitations of the quality of illustration. I said the animation, but the illustration of the characters. And it's one of those things that I had said prior when people were talking about Dragon Ball Super when it first came out, like, oh, the animation quality is not that good, the illustration's pretty bad. Like, historically, Dragon Ball was never really that good. I think people remember the moments. They remember awesome moments of the series as opposed to its entirety. You know what I mean? Like, they don't remember the crazy episodes of the animation was super subpar, or the character models were terrible or out of proportion, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's tons of those. I've seen the original Dragon Ball Z series probably a good 10 times. Like, watched it. Just because I like the series, right? But I've never been of the mind of, but I did want to watch this with you guys. So you guys have an idea of how I look at this series. And a lot of you guys are like, man, like it's not that good. Why do you like it so much? And I'm like, yeah, but like there's something about it. So I'm watching on some site because I couldn't find it. It's not on Funimation, which is really weird. It's not on Verve. It's not on Netflix. I'm like, bro, where is this anime at?
Want to see him alive? You'll do what your big brother tells you.
Now, story-wise, to me, that last episode with that moment, Master Rochi's like, there's nothing we could do. It's too strong. It's like, you didn't even try to do anything. That was something that, me seeing it over and over, I was like, dang, like, you're smart about stuff for one, but like, as emotional as these characters get about defending and fighting opponents that are far stronger than them, it was really strange that they didn't even try to put up a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you saw, obviously, Krillin get smacked by the tail, but Roshi didn't do anything after that. Krillin didn't do anything after that, after Goku got knocked down. There was no other offensive. You know what I'm saying? There was no other actionables once Goku got knocked on his ass. Like, everybody's kind of like, oh, well, I'm not in it. You know what I mean? So that was one thing for me where I'm like, dang, like, nobody wanted to at least try to get Gohan back in that moment. Just something that was a little interesting to me.
To see his son begins now. Only now that it's too late do you understand what it means to face a Saiyan. I tried to warn you, brother. I asked you to see reason, but you refused to listen. And for that, you die.
You know what's really dope, though, is this is the first time that Goku gets to fight somebody like him. You know what I mean? Because he's been the Saiyan that everybody fought. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting that this moment, he's finally almost looking in the mirror of somebody that's more experienced, but is him, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really cool to kind of have that flipped of like, dang, well, I finally get to fight somebody like me, and yikes. You know what I'm saying?
And even if we don't, there's still 2 more Saiyans out there, right? Hang on, Gohan! Daddy's gonna get you out of there really soon, I promise! Don't get the boys' hopes up. You know that's a promise you can't keep. You'd have to get through me.
I really don't like how they lowered the contrast on his hair to make it seem like, to make it stand out, because it just looks like it's a lightened, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no definition in his hair, so it just looks like light black, but it doesn't look like hair because Goku's hair is black, and now it's like, oh, it's just, you know, it's throwing me off because it's lighter than the shadows on his body. It's really weird. Oh, that was nasty. Did you see that, bro? This sequence, that looks terrible. That looks so bad. Like the color differences. Now you have ugh. I remember when I first saw that, I was like, oh my God, bro. Yeah, got your arm blown off, bro. That perspective was so weird. He shot it down. Why'd they go out? I'm so confused. I've always been confused about that. He was above them, shot it down, and then they went that way?
Where'd it go?
Behind you.
Right here.
Yeah.
Worry. It's not as bad as it looks. I only need 1 arm to fight. Who are you kidding? You're half dead already.
Yeah, this deal here bagging. Isn't it crazy though? Because at this point, he didn't have the ability to regenerate his arm that quickly. It took him a really long time to regenerate.
Hey Goku, I suppose you don't have any new tricks up your sleeve that you've been holding back.
He's getting tagged. Can I see what they did? Adding the new aura on top of it to kind of add that current look and feel. I think it kind of clashes with it, to be honest with you. That was ugly as hell. It's when they add the new colors and they do a redraw and they do the colors of now, like they don't match. The shading's off, it's too polished, it doesn't look like it's drawn, it looks like it's like created in a computer. You know what I'm saying? I think the first time we saw him control the Kamehameha. I think this was the first time we've seen it. It deflected.
Now can you do the
He
same?
just ate it. Yeah. Bro shot you out of the sky. Like he was duck hunting, bro. Bow. Oh. Boom. So crazy to see that attack for the first time. Obviously, we didn't know that's what it was called. We called it the Special Beam Cannon, but you know what I'm talking about.
Your attack again! Well done, Goku. Now hold him still. Don't let go no matter what. I only have enough energy to use this technique once more. Kakarot, please, would you really kill your only brother? Your own flesh and blood? Shut up. We've already been through all this.
Shut up. We've already been through this, homie.
Son, I don't have a brother. Kakarot, you have to believe me. I'm begging you.
You gonna slide out.
Goku!
Kick. Damn. About to get rack. Bow. Bye, cuh.
Can't just dodge it again.
Yeah, here we go, Gohan. He mad, bro. This is when everybody got hype about Gohan. Like, yo, this dude is super saucy, right? I remember when I first saw this, I was like, holy crap, this kid is strong as hell, bro. He was stronger than Goku at this particular point in time. He just had this rage. Now, was that due to his tail? Huh? Who knows? But his raw power at the moment, he was like, yo, like, I got some sauce right now. I'm strong. Just saying.
It's at 1307. You stop hurting my
I love this animation. Did they keep it the same? Look at his head, guys. That animation is so terrible. Got the bobblehead, bro. The bobblehead animation is still there.
It changes with his emotions. Run,
Back fist. That dude knocked out. Bro, he got the Naruto eye. You see that? You saw it.
No, stop! Don't do it, please. He's just a child. Is that what you were going to say? Grab your attack. Do it. Do it now. Finally, it's about time you decided to make your move. No, hold him. It's almost ready.
Bruh, do you remember how long that took in the original? Bruh, these were like 2 episodes, bruh. Yeah! Out that back! Are they gonna show the explosion? Boom! Oh, they removed the blood. I hate that they do that. I hate that they do that. If you guys saw the OG version of Dragon Ball Z, Goku had a gigantic hole in his chest. Same with Raditz. And this moment right here literally coughed up blood. He was right here. That wasn't just a nut bust. Blood came out of his mouth at this point in time. I hate that Dragon Ball did that. That they're like, oh, we have to make this shit kid friendly, bruh. If you guys know of an actual uncut version of Dragon Ball Z Kai, can you guys send me that link? I would greatly appreciate it.
Don't worry, I doubt Goku will stay dead for long. What? You heard me. On this planet, we have these things called the Dragon Balls. Gather all 7, and together they have the power to grant any wish.
So Piccolo, as smart as he is, decides to tell him what's gonna go down, knowing that he has some device on his head, knowing that there's 2 other Saiyans out there. He didn't think that maybe he could transmit that information. It's just really interesting to me. You know, as intelligent as Piccolo is.
Someone dead back to life. The other Saiyans. When will they be here? 1 year. 1 short year.
How does... I'm so curious on how he knows that they're going to be a year from now. I never understood that. I was like, how do you know? You know? Did he tell him right now? Did Vegeta tell him in his ear right now? Yo, we're going to be there in like a year, though. It's going to take us about a year to get there. But I'm just confused.
Raditz got himself killed. Serves him right. If he can't handle a couple of people,
This was a recolor.
levels less than
This was a recolor. And this, Vegeta's costume was like a green and a brown, and his hair was light brown. This is a recolor.
1,000. So what now? Goku has made the ultimate sacrifice to defeat Raditz. However, a new threat approaches. Can the Earth survive without its greatest hero?
So, these 2 episodes. The fight sequences was cool. Looking back on it now, was very, very chill. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. It was very basic. There wasn't a ton of actual fighting. It was kind of like a move, a grab. You know what I'm saying? Like when we look back on Dragon Ball, we remember these crazy elaborate fights. This one was not one of those. It wasn't like the martial arts tournaments in Dragon Ball. This was a very basic fight. The stakes were super high, right? Obviously, this is Goku's first death, so definitely big, especially if you came in from the Dragon Ball side of things. Keep in mind, I watched Dragon Ball Z first, so seeing this, like, it wasn't that big of a deal when I first saw this because I didn't really have a connection with Goku yet. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Excuse me, but I didn't really know what was gonna go down. You know what I'm saying? So it was weird. I actually, first time I saw Dragon Ball Z was the first episode, which was really weird how it happened. I didn't catch some and then it restarted because if you guys remember back in the early 2000s when Dragon Ball Z was on Toonami, it would go up to a certain point and then it would restart to episode 1, go to a certain point, restart from episode 1. It would do it like 3 times, and then once it got to that episode that it would restart from, it would then continue to another season, and then it would start over again from episode 1 and go all the way to the end of that season and go. So it had this weird cycle. I caught it right when episode 1 hit, so I was really lucky. But yeah, so I didn't have an emotional attachment yet with Goku because there wasn't enough to be like, oh, you know what I mean? I just know in my head, I was like, man, what's going to go on with Gohan, So I feel like at this point in time right now, if you're watching Dragon Ball Z Kai, obviously I would assume you've seen Dragon Ball first before watching Dragon Ball Z Kai, since you can watch Dragon Ball now before you see Dragon Ball Z. I would imagine as being more of a heartfelt moment, for sure, especially because he's always kind of beat the odds. Goku's always beat the odds. So having this moment after Dragon Ball, seeing him finally, take a death L, is definitely a moment, I would say. Now, the music not being like the Falconer joint, that's going to be subjective, right? Because I grew up on the Falconer joint. So to me, that music, there's moments musically that are like imprinted in my mind. And then I've obviously watched this in Japanese, which I do prefer. I actually prefer this in Japanese. But I do know the majority of people in the States have seen it with the English dub. So, and I'm okay with it. Like the English dub is fine. I'm super okay with it. I've seen the 3 incarnations of the English dub, which for you guys that don't know is the original Ocean dub, where Goku, all the voices were different. Then you had when Funimation came on and really took over it, and you had like, what's his name? Sean Schimmel come on as Goku and all that. And then you had obviously the redub of that because they went to they had to do a redub of the episodes that were the Ocean dub originally. So they redubbed those and then the Dragon Ball Z Kai version of it. So I have seen all of these versions audibly. I've heard them. And yeah, I do like the English dub of Dragon Ball. It's iconic for sure. But I do prefer it in Japanese because I just feel the characters' voices fit them. Goku really feels more macho because of his tone in English. When in actuality, he's much more of a country bumpkin, lighthearted, and his voice, because it's voice acted by a female, it has a lighthearted tone to it, so it doesn't feel as masculine. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of goes with this personality of being like this kind of lighthearted, country bumpkin vibe. You know what I mean? So I feel like either one I dig. I just, I prefer it in Japanese now that I've seen it in Japanese. But yeah, the animation was okay. There was definitely moments that I feel like I really, really enjoyed. I really miss how they used to animate hair in wind. When they would move and their hair would just really flowy. I love that type of animation because it mimics real life. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, the quality of animation has become much higher now, for sure. But at the time, seeing it for the first time, like when you watch Goku versus Vegeta and they're both on the rocks and they're standing there and the hair's blowing in the wind in the desert, that moment is iconic. There's just something about the hair movement. But we rarely see that in later Dragon Ball Z episodes. The hair doesn't move. Goku's hair stays the same. Or if it does, it just goes like, it just goes in one direction and stays there. It doesn't flow. It doesn't. It doesn't flow at all. So it's refreshing to see the older like the older animation style kind of still ring true. Now the thing that I did have issues with is when they do the recolors, some of the scenes they decided to redraw, and they're too polished and the colors don't match. They're either too saturated or there's not enough contrast, so it looks like it looks, I don't know the word. It just doesn't fit visually. So with that, I really hope that, because I know there was like that Dragon box that had came out with all of them remastered in 4:3 aspect ratio and all that. I want to see what that looks like, but I haven't seen that. I would prefer to see what that looks like, but you know, getting a lot of those things here in Australia is kind of difficult, and they're extremely expensive here. So, but you know, overall, these episodes of the Raditz, this is what, episode 4, right? Episode 3. So you have the first 3 episodes, Goku's dead in Dragon Ball Z Kai. When I think he dies in episode 5, I think 5 in Dragon Ball Z, 5 or 6. So we're cutting it in half already, which is awesome. There is a lot of unnecessary holds and filler in the previous iteration. It's not necessarily filler, it's just dead time. It's standoffs. It's music and then stand and a pan across or a tilt up, or you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that, a lot of suspense filled scenes with nothing happening. So I love that we're cutting a lot of that fat out in Dragon Ball Z Kai. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Seeing this now in comparison to something like you see like in Dragon Ball Super, would I say that any of these episodes are better than any episodes I've seen in Dragon Ball Super, or like the worst of Dragon Ball Super? It's kind of comparable, just to be completely honest with you. There's nothing in this right now that has been like, this is better than anything in Dragon Ball Super. I don't see it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously we have some of the bigger moments, but keep in mind, my opinion about Dragon Ball Z is I feel the best written arcs. I consider the Saiyan arc and the Namek arc with Frieza one arc, because I feel like that story is one complete story. And I feel like Dragon Ball Z does that, right? You have the sub bosses and then the main boss. You have the Saiyans and then the main boss being Frieza. You have the androids and the main boss being Cell. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's how Dragon Ball Z kind of treated its big bads. So to me, in this situation, I feel that the Saiyan saga, which means from Raditz to Frieza getting killed or being beaten on Namek, I feel like that arc is the best arc in Dragon Ball. That's just my opinion. That is my favorite. I feel like Frieza is the best villain in Dragon Ball Z. But us rewatching this, we're gonna see how they really paint it in Dragon Ball Z Kai. And I want you guys to give me your opinion on this. Be as vocal as you can be. We can talk about everything. So be as vocal. Your thoughts on these episodes, the things you liked, the things that you didn't care for, and we can have these conversations in the comment section, because I haven't been able to talk to you guys about this ever, because you know, we haven't had the ability to do that. So I want to be able to have these conversations with you guys in the comment section. So don't feel like you can't say what you want to say it. And I'll be replying to you guys within the next, 4 or 5 hours of you guys seeing this for the first time. So other than that, if you guys want to catch this unedited, link in the description box for the Patreon. And if you guys want to catch my previous Dragon Ball Z Does It Hold Up, it was for the Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z Kai, because we start on here now. That link will be right here to the side. All right, guys. Till next time. Stay geeked.